welcome back. Today I'm gonna start working on a custom stainless exhaust for my dad's 79 F-150. So this truck we picked up a couple summers ago. It was just mainly stock 460, had an intake and some headers on it, and that was about it. And this past summer we built a new engine and transmission and redid some stuff in the engine bay. Right now it is a 552 cubic inch big block Ford, so stock 460 block. It's got forged pistons, rods, crank, everything like that. It's got Ford Performance Super Cobra Jet heads, Edelbrock intake, and it has the Holley Sniper 2 as well as the whole Hyperspark ignition system. We got the truck running this summer and the Sniper was really impressive. The very first time we hit the key on this thing, it fired up immediately and ran perfect. So we're really excited to get it done this year and drive it. There's just a couple small things, a little bit of wiring that needs to be cleaned up, but the big thing is it needs an exhaust system. So I had ordered a bunch of parts to get started on that. All this stainless is from Performance World. It's all 3-inch. There's some 90-degree bends, a couple of their 45-degree elbows, some pie cuts, a couple of flex joints, and then I have about 5 feet of just straight 3-inch tubing. I'm waiting for a muffler to come in still, but in the meantime I am going to get what little bit of exhaust system there is on it from when we fired it up out, and then I'll show you what we're working with. Alright, under the truck there's not a ton of room to work with, but it's definitely doable. So these headers just have like a 3-bolt flange on them, which will work just fine because the flange opening on these is 3-inch to match the exhaust, so I can just weld those right onto the 3-inch exhaust, so that'll work good. For the driver's side header, it needs to do a sharp 90 right away to clear the transmission cross member and everything. And then both of the exhaust pipes need to come through this little hole beside the transfer case and transmission. Now the stock exhaust that was on this was small enough that they could come out beside each other, but with the 3-inch exhaust, it'll have to come out one pipe on top of the other. So for this first one, I'm gonna kind of check here. From the flange of the header to the cross member is about 9 inches, and I don't want it that close to the cross member, so I'm probably gonna cut the pipe around 8, and that should give it clearance to clear the transmission cross member and have a little bit of room from the transmission pan as well. On this first 90-degree bend, to the outside of the pipe it's about 15 inches, so if I take that, I want it about 8 inches long from the face of it to the back side of the bend, so I'll make a mark right at 7 inches and cut that off, and then start there and see how it fits. The 90's cut down to about the right length, and then I've just got it tacked into this little 3-bolt flange that'll bolt onto the header. And I also went ahead and tacked together 6 of these 15-degree pie cuts for a sharp 90-degree bend, as I think that'll be the next bend that'll need to be made to get over the transmission cross member. So I'm just gonna quickly tack this 90 onto the end of here where I made a little mark, and then I'll go under the truck and see if that's gonna work. Okay, you can see the 90-degree there bolted up to the header, and then all these pie cuts to make another 90 to
angle it up over the transmission cross member. And then I have this 45 with 2 more of those 15s on it. And I think it's gonna work fine right on the end of this 90, and that will get it up and over the transmission cross member and be a straight shot back to wherever I hang the muffler. So I'm gonna get this all cleaned up and get these pie cuts tacked together, and then I will come back down here, mark where I want it on the 90-degree pie cuts that are already here, and then I will tack all of that together and then probably start working on the passenger side one, as I think it's gonna have to kind of angle up before it straightens out to go over top of the driver's side exhaust pipe. Okay, this is tacked together now with that 45 on there. It all fits really good, clears the transmission cross member, but I put tacked this little extension on just to see what angle it was going to come out at, and if you see in relation to the frame, it's kind of pointing down a little more than I would like. So I'm just going to unbolt this, pull it back out, and take out one of these pie cuts, and that should both bring it down a little bit and tilt it back up, and we'll see if that does the trick.
Alright, I'm back working on the exhaust for the truck again. I probably haven't touched it in 2 or 3 weeks because I was getting all that stuff done on the car. But as kind of an update, I've pretty well got well, let me move over here. I've got the pipes done to the cross member, so it's a very tight fit, but the 2 3-inch pipes are coming out there. You can kind of see all the pie cuts I had to do to get it up and above the cross member, and then I just built a little tab with some 3/8 rod for a hanger, and I've got a muffler after we had to replace the last one. This is a Black Widow. I think this is the Angry Housewife, they call it. So dual 3-inch in and 3-inch out. Hanger from Performance World. I just cut it. You can buy them like this, and there's 3 different holes, but I needed the clearance, so just trim that down and have it tacked on here. And then I've got 2 3-inch V-bands, just with the pipe just tack welded onto it right now, so these will obviously fit inside here, and then I can I'll weld these pipes and the V-bands onto the end of the muffler, and then I can remove the exhaust system. So I'm going to tack both of these into the muffler, and then I'll go hang the muffler back underneath the truck, and I can start figuring out what I need to get the pipe from where they are to the muffler. And I'm going to fit in these flex joints as well on each pipe. The exhaust is going to be pretty short because it's going to come, I think it's going to come right out in front of the rear tire. So I got 2 90s that I think will fit perfect right out of the muffler, and I'll set them both here. I'll have to figure out, and I probably can't see, I'll need to move the light over, but I'll need to make another hanger that connects the two 90s off the muffler. But I think the hard part is done now that it's over the cross member. So I'll get the muffler all tacked up and back under the truck, and then I'll get the pipes fitted up to it.
Okay, update on the exhaust. I got those V-bands and the little extensions welded on, and then I don't know if you can see it, but I got a hanger welded on and made a hanger to the frame. that you can kind of see there. And I've got the first pipe done to the muffler. I need to order a couple more bends to get the second one, so I've moved back to start the tailpipe. So I think it's just gonna come out in front of the tire. So this one's easy enough. This will almost be a straight shot out. This one I just need to put a little bend in and it'll also come out. And then probably gonna use this hole up in the bottom side of the bed, or this might actually work better as this hole in the frame that I could put a hanger down onto, and I'll weld another hanger off of this pipe to a bracket I can build onto the frame, and then I'll make a little piece that I could put in between the two tailpipes to weld them together to support them both, because I'm not going to put a hanger on both pipes. I'll just put a hanger on the one pipe and then essentially weld these two tailpipes together in the middle where they meet. So I'm gonna start figuring out the bracket for the hanger, and we'll go from there. Okay, I was just working on the piece that is gonna join that upper pipe coming off the passenger side header to the V-band on the muffler. And I haven't really been filming much of while I'm building it, because it's just a bunch of cutting and fitting and taking it apart and putting it back together a million times. But I've got this piece made up, so this will connect back onto that pipe coming from the header, and it will bend around and connect up to the V-band. It's got a flex joint in there. This is all tacked together right now. When I had it up in the truck, it fit really good. So I gotta pull that pipe, or the piece so far that's coming off the header, out. I made some marks on it, and I'll try to tack it together and then put it up into the truck once more time to make sure it fits really good. I also got the other tab bent up for the exhaust hanger. You can see there, so that tab is just tack welded onto the pipe. I got another hanger made up, bolted to the frame. And then once this is all said and done, the tips will come out of the box, or out of the side of the box right there. I think it'll look really good. So I'm gonna get that pipe pulled out, unbolted from the header and pulled out, put it all on the table, tack it together with this piece. I'll put it up there once more, make sure it fits, and then the whole system is pretty well ready to come out and finish weld. Okay, I got that second piece welded up and in. As you can kind of see, it makes a loop kind of over the other pipe and into the V-band. I think this setup will work really good. It does not move a lot, and it's not fully attached yet. The hangers and stuff are still just tack welded on. There is really not a lot of room in this cross member to fit two 3-inch pipes, but they do all fit. There's, you know, a finger width of clearance to the floor up above, to the cross member, between these two pipes. So I've got at least a, you know, width of a finger gap everywhere. So I think this will work well. I will pull it out here today or tomorrow and start welding on it. All right, this is the driver's side piece for the driver's side header that goes to the muffler for the truck. So I've got it all clean and set up, and tube is in it, so I can back purge this whole thing, and should make all the welds a lot stronger. So after welding the turbo kit for the car, and that was the first time having done stainless, I hadn't realized how much stainless moves when you're welding it. So I'm gonna try to be more conscious of that this time and weld in really small sections and move around the pipe a lot rather than welding in big long pieces and jumping around and it flexing. So I'll try to, you know, just weld it, you know, a ½ inch at a time and keep moving around the pipe to hopefully not get any of these areas super hot, and hopefully it won't flex and move as much because this exhaust is so tight fitting into the truck that if it moves too much, it's probably not going to fit how I have it fitting when it's just tacked up here. So I'll turn the gas on and let it fill up with some argon, and then I will start welding on it. Alright, I've finally finished welding out all the exhaust. This one is the passenger side tube, so it came out really good. A lot of joints, it took a long time to weld. And then I got the whole tailpipe section with the muffler, and these hangers, these are from Performance World. They work good because you can kind of cut them to whatever height you need. Like I cut that one shorter and they got the little grommet, and then I just made up some hangers to bolt on different places of the frame. And then the driver's side header, or not header but pipe, this one's also done. This one had a lot of different bends in it to get around the cross member and the transfer case. It's really tight in there. If this was a two-wheel drive truck, this exhaust probably would have taken a quarter of the time that this did. But last thing I got to do on here is the O2 bung. So according to the Sniper, it can be anywhere between 1 to 10 inches past the collector. So, you know, whatever this is, probably 5 inches or 4 inches or so. So it's right within that range. I'm gonna get that burned in, and then I've got to get a couple wires, the starter wire and the alternator wire done. I'll throw the exhaust on, and then we'll fire the truck up and see how it sounds.